Well, hello everyone. Welcome to this month's webinar from the Iowa Department of Revenue, talking to you about electronic filing of W-2s and 1099s. My name is Kyle Kugler. I work at the University of Northern Iowa at the John Papa John Entrepreneurial Center. At the JPEG specifically, what I do is work on a website called Iowa SourceLink. Iowa SourceLink is a great place to get your all your business needs, whether it's starting a business, finding funding, learning how to innovate your business, whatever it may be. We try to help connect people that are starting their business, growing the business, whatever it is, with the resources across the state. Great resources like the Department of Revenue to help answer your questions. Right now in the chat, there's actually a copy of these slides that were just sent to you. You can get them there, and we'll post them periodically throughout as well in case you miss them this time around. Trying to think, what else do we got to talk about, guys? Today we actually have Brent Park. He will be doing the presentation. In the back end, we have Terry, Chet, and Emily. They'll be answering questions as well. One other thing to remind you is that this week for this webinar, we are actually recording it. It will be available on our website, Iowa SourceLink. I believe either tomorrow or Friday will be the days that you can view those. All should be good there. But just remember this week, or I keep saying this week, this webinar is, my gosh, I keep forgetting everything I'm supposed to say here, guys. You can answer or ask your questions in the Q&A. Please try to keep your questions specific to W-2s and 1099s. If you have questions about GovConnect Iowa, there is a webinar next week that we can answer those questions for. So with further ado, Brent, you want to take it away?
Alrighty, thank you, Kyle. Hello, my name is Brent Park, and welcome to the Iowa Department of Revenue's 2021 electronic filing of W-2s and 1099s webinar. This presentation is specifically for W-2 1099 filing through GovConnect Iowa. So just a brief overview, today's webinar will cover 5 main topics: tax year 2021 filing requirements and due dates, accepted forms and file types, electronic filing options available, step-by-step filing instructions and helpful tips, and available resources. The slides will basically just cover the new GovConnect system and how to file. Okay, so tax year 2021 filing requirements. There were no changes to the filing requirements for the verified summary of payments, W-2s, or 1099s for tax year 2021. The file layout did change for 1099s for tax year 2021 as it is based on the IRS Pub 1220 updates. Businesses with a withholding permit are required to file their VSP by February 15th, 2022. Businesses with W-2s must electronically file W-2s containing Iowa tax withholding with the Iowa Department of Revenue by February 15th, 2022. Businesses with 1099s must electronically file 1099s containing Iowa tax withholding with the Iowa Department of Revenue by February 15th, 2022. The forms are considered separate and have their own filing requirements. So for example, if your business has 10 W-2s, but only 5 of them have Iowa tax withholding, then you are only required to file the 5 W-2s containing Iowa tax withholding. If your business issued 1099s, but they do not contain Iowa tax withholding, then you do not have to file the 1099s with Iowa. Only forms containing Iowa tax withholding are required to be filed. 1099 forms accepted. Iowa accepts all 1099 forms that possess a state tax withholding field within the form. The 3 most common 1099s that contain Iowa tax withholding are the 1099 miscellaneous, the 1099 NEC, and the 1099R. Only 1099s that contain Iowa tax withholding are required to be filed. If they do not have Iowa tax withholding, then you do not need to file with them or file with us. So Iowa does not accept paper copies of W-2s and 1099s, files created on the IRS or SSA website, CD-ROMs or flash drives, or other types of files such as PDFs or spreadsheets. If using the upload method, files must be created using software that supports electronic filing of W-2s and or 1099s to Iowa. A simple way to confirm that your software supports Iowa, you should have to choose the state of Iowa when creating your W-2 or 1099 files. If you are still unsure, then contact your software vendor to confirm if your version supports Iowa W-2 or 1099 filings. Most software vendors do, however, additional fees may apply to access the state filing option. Does Iowa participate in combined reporting? The short answer, no. The department understands the additional burden placed on our constituents with these filing requirements and appreciate your continued compliance. The information being used from these reports allows the department to expedite the processing of returns and refunds while combating fraud. Both are a great value to all Iowa taxpayers. How to submit W-2s and 1099s. How can you submit your W-2s and 1099s? Do it yourself by manually entering your W-2s, 1099 NEC, or 1099 miscellaneous using the manual key function on GovConnect Iowa. At this time, only W-2s, 1099 NEC, and 1099 miscellaneous are available for key and send. If you have a lot of employees or need to file 1099s other than the NEC or miscellaneous, then use a service provider or software vendor to create a file. The vendor must support electronic filing of W-2s or 1099s to Iowa. We recommend checking with your current accounting software provider to confirm if that option is available on your current software. The department discourages businesses from attempting to create a W-2 or 1099 file unless you have an AX2 Notepad+ text file programmer available to assist. The file specs are complex and the department will not be able to assist with creating the text file. Submitting W-2 and 1099 forms. Next, we're going to walk through the process of filing W-2s and 1099s using the department's GovConnect Iowa web application. For this webinar, we will be filing W-2s using the manual key option and 1099s for the upload method. The upload method for W-2s is identical to the 1099 process, only you select the W-2 option to submit your file. We will cover the manual key function first, followed by the upload method. So first, you will visit the department's webpage, tax.iowa.gov. On the home screen, click Online Services in the upper right-hand corner. Please note that you will be taken to an interim page first, which will provide links to instructions and helpful information pertaining to GovConnect Iowa and our modernization effort. Click GovConnect Iowa hyperlink to be directed to the login page. Users will be directed to the GovConnect Iowa login screen. Enter your email address and password you registered when creating a GovConnect Iowa logon. If you have not created a logon, then click Create a Logon and follow the steps to get set up in our system. This is the same for service providers, bulk filers, third-party representatives, tax professionals, and businesses. So after successfully logging in, users will be directed to the main menu. The web logon must have access to the withholding account in order to file W-2s and 1099s for the business. If you log in and don't see the W-2 or 1099 filing options, then you do not have access and need to request access to the withholding account. Click the link titled Submit W-2s and 1099s under the Returns and Payments heading. Users will need to select the appropriate permit for which they will be filing their W-2s or 1099s under. Only withholding permits registered to the business will be listed. If you have more than one withholding permit, which is rare, then ensure you are selecting the permit for which the withholding payments were paid under. After selecting the permit, click Next. On a side note, if you are a third-party representative or a tax professional and have multiple clients, you will see the different accounts you have access to when you first log in. Be sure to select the client you are wanting to file for prior to accessing the Submit W-2s and 1099s link. The client you are working on will be displayed in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. You will need to change clients after each submission by clicking the Work with Someone Else link in the upper left-hand corner. After selecting the permit, you will have two options: upload bulk file submissions or manually key W-2 or 1099 forms. For this part of the webinar, we will go through what manually keying W-2 or 1099 forms will look like. Select Manually Key W-2 or 1099 Forms option and then click Next. Employer information is the first screen to require data entries. You will need to select the ID type, enter the ID for the type selected, enter the company name, and the address of the employer. Again, note, the selected withholding account chosen on a previous scheme will auto-populate in the withholding account field. Next, click Next once all the fields are completed. So the next screen, you'll be able to select Yes on the forms you wish to file for. At this time, the only 1099s you are able to manually key are the 1099 NEC and the 1099 miscellaneous. All other 1099 forms must be filed using the Upload Bulk File option. You are able to file W-2s and 1099s on the same session. Starting January 1st, the department is accepting W-2s and 1099s for tax years 2019, 2020, and 2021. Filings for older years is not available and no longer applicable. Click Next to continue. So depending on the form or forms you chose will determine what appears on the next screen. We will begin with a W-2 manual key. So that would be if you selected yes to the W-2 form. W-2 manual key will encompass a couple of slides due to the size of the web page. This screen is where the W-2 information is entered. The W-2 and 1099 key and function is set up to mirror the actual forms. So therefore, when we will be collecting data from all the fields on the forms. Information to be entered includes employee information and employee earnings. Information entered on the employer information screen will auto-populate in the employer section for convenience. If you have entered multiple W-2s or records, clicking the W-2 tab next to record 1 at the top will list all the W-2s you have entered so far. So this is just a continuation of the employee information employee earnings screen for the W-2 entry. You will continue to enter the employee and W-2 information. Note on the 12A, if a code is selected from the drop-down menu, a value is required to be entered. So A, B, C, D, and E. If you select something in the drop-down menu, you'll have to enter something within that field. After information is completed, you can either select the option to file another W-2 using the Add W-2 link, or you can delete it by clicking the Delete W-2 link in the bottom right-hand corner. If you've entered all the W-2s you need to file, then click Next to take you to the next screen. Before continuing, we will look at the information to enter on a 1099 NEC as the process after is the same. Here we will look at the manual key option for the 1099 NEC. Complete all the applicable information. Again, if you need to file multiple 1099 NEC forms, select the Add 1099 NEC or delete a record by selecting Delete 1099 NEC. If you have entered multiple NEC forms, clicking the 1099 NEC tab next to record 1 at the top of the list, or will list all the 1099 NECs you have entered so far. Once you have completed all the NEC forms you wish to submit, click the Next button. We will forgo viewing the 1099 miscellaneous as the layout is similar to the layout of the actual 1099 miscellaneous form, and the features are the same as the W-2 and 1099 NEC manual key options. So after entering all the applicable forms you wish to submit, you will be taken to the Submit screen to verify the total number of W-2s and or 1099s you entered. If finished, click the Confirm checkbox and press Submit. A confirmation pop-up will appear, prompting you to enter your web logon password prior to completing your submission. Next, a confirmation screen will appear where a confirmation number will be listed. You can retain this for your records. Note, you can come back to any part of the process by clicking one of the sections at the top of the screen. The information is saved for the current session unless you cancel out or delete it. In the event you have an emergency or need to step away from your computer, use the Save Draft button at any point during the process. All data entered will be saved for 30 days. When you return to your homepage, there will be a note under the Action Center tab, or you can click Search Submission and your W-2 1099 manual key draft can be continued. It's a great tool to have when there's a lot of W-2s and 1099s you must submit. Next, we'll be discussing the submitting W-2s and 1099s via the upload method. As shown in a previous slide, businesses and employees of businesses will need to select the withholding count they wish to file for prior to getting to this screen. Clicking Next will continue to the process. To reiterate though, third-party representatives and tax professionals that have multiple clients will need to select the client they wish to work with when you first log in and prior to accessing the Submit W-2s and 1099s link. Make sure you are working with the correct client by checking the name of the client in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. You will need to change clients after each submission by clicking the Work with Someone Else link in the upper left-hand corner. So all users will be directed to the Attach a Bulk File screen. Once you click Add Attachment, a pop-up screen will appear. You will need to select either W-2 bulk upload or 1099 bulk upload from the drop-down menu under Type. The process for W-2 and 1099 upload are the same. Therefore, this example will only show a 1099 upload. Selecting the incorrect type of form will generate multiple errors. Make sure you are selecting the correct form for the type of form you are submitting. Next, complete the description field. It is suggested to list what form and tax year so it is easier to locate your submission. This has no naming requirements or anything like that. So for example, you can put in 2021 W-2s or 2021 corrected W-2s. Lastly, users will click Choose File, which will prompt a pop-up window, allowing you to search your computer for the W-2 or 1099 file you want to upload. Note, we have discontinued the file name convention for both W-2s and 1099s. It does not have to follow a naming format. So this is a snippet of the pop-up window after clicking Choose File. Find the file you created on your computer and select it. The file must be a text file, but the name of the file does not have any restrictions. In this example, we are using the file name 1099 file 11/29/2021. The file name you selected will appear next to Choose File. Ensure you selected the correct file and then click OK to continue. So there's our 1099 file and 11/29/2021. Files that meet IDR's W-2 1099 file layouts will be presented with a green message stating your file is valid and ready for submission. Note the type, the name of the file, the description, and size will appear. Size references the number of records being submitted. If you are ready to submit, click Next. Files that do not meet IDR's W-2 1099 file layouts will be presented with a pop-up window stating your file could not be attached due to errors in the file. Click OK to review the error list. Clicking OK will take you to the list of errors. The message, your file is invalid, please fix the following errors and reattach the file will appear in red for uploads with incorrect file layout. Errors will be presented with the record type, line position, field name, and error message. If there are multiple errors, then be sure to check if there are multiple pages listing the errors. You can use the export link in the top right-hand corner to download the errors into an Excel spreadsheet. Errors must be corrected to complete a successful upload. Most errors will be caused by programming flaws and require software developer intervention. The department recommends contacting your software provider for assistance with error codes. If they are unable to assist, then they will need to contact the department at csp-bulkfilers@iowa.gov to have a specialist assist them. You will need to create a new file to upload. Similar to the manual key option, the Submit section will be presented with the number of records to be uploaded. If finished, click the Confirm checkbox and press Submit. A confirmation pop-up will appear prompting you to enter your web logon password prior to completing your submission. Next, a confirmation screen will appear where a confirmation number will be listed. Retain this for your records. Again, at any point in time prior to submitting, you can edit the file you wish to upload or save a draft to submit at a later time. Next, we'll look at bulk filers and the process for bulk filers submitting W-2 and 1099s, which is similar to the self-filers with just a few differences. One being the different options on the home screen. Bulk filers will use the Submit W-2s and 1099s link to file on behalf of clients, not the Submit Bulk Returns link on the bulk processing panel. Approved bulk filers will automatically have access to all W-2 1099 features. After clicking the Submit W-2s and 1099s link, bulk filers will not select any withholding account prior to submitting the W-2 and 1099 information, but be directed to the screen to choose Upload Bulk File Submissions or manually key W-2 or 1099 forms. Bulk filers who are using manual W-2 and 1099 key will have to manually enter the withholding account number. After these stages in the process is similar to what we went through with self-filers, third-party representatives, tax professionals, and employees of a business. On a side note, bulk filer businesses who do not have a filing requirement to Iowa do not have an option to give access to a secondary login. So how can you file corrected W-2s and 1099s? Users are not bound to the original filing method when filing corrected forms. You can submit corrected W-2s or 1099s using the W-2 1099 manual key option. If form options are available, it is suggested that the name of the file and the description state corrected and the tax year you are filing for. So in the description field, when you're submitting these in, put something as far as corrected and the tax filing year. So that way it's easily searchable and then we are aware that's a corrected return or corrected form. Do I need authorization to upload my file to Iowa? Businesses and employers must be registered with the department by completing an Iowa Business Tax Permit registration application. We no longer have paper form for bulk filer registration. If you wish to become a bulk filer, you will need to visit GovConnect Iowa. The link is listed on this slide. Under registration on the home screen, register as a certified provider link. Submitting test files. Testing is discretionary, and software vendors and payroll service providers who develop their own software can register their products with the Iowa Department of Revenue. We do have a separate testing site for bulk filers and software vendors. If you wish to test, you will need to register as a bulk filer. More information will be provided to approved bulk filers and software vendors. The next few slides reference some resources available to everyone. Further information can be found on our website, tax.iowa.gov, under W-2 1099 filing information. Some resources. Using the website, businesses can register for withholding permit, apply for extension of time to file, sign up for email updates, view step-by-step instructions regarding W-2 wage statement, and 1099 information return file uploads. This slide references our contact information and further resources. So if you have additional questions that were not answered or cannot be answered during this presentation, feel free to contact us at that CSP bulkfilers@iowa.gov or contact us at the phone number listed. So this concludes our webinar. Thank you for attending. As of right now, Chet and Emily and Terry, are there any questions you think we need to address or any other information we need to go over?
Brent, great job. Everyone, this is Patrick Winston jumping in. Got a lot of questions in the Q&A box there, Brent. So if you want to take a minute to look through those and see which ones we want to answer, please take a look and then we can kind of go from there. To reiterate, this is recorded. So everything that Brent just went through will be uploaded to SourceLink, and you'll be able to watch that again through there or the Iowa Department of Revenue website. We are having a webinar next week on more on the GovConnect Iowa. Sophie in the background will post a link to that in the chat. So be sure to go out and sign up for that. And so if you came from SourceLink, IDA, from Iowa Department of Revenue, anywhere, we appreciate you being here for the formal portion of this. So now for the next however long we've got, we're going to do our best to answer some questions. We may see a few other people from the Department of Revenue jump in as well. But that was the bulk of it. So Brent, in that Q&A list, see any you want to tackle, you can even just let us know whose question it is. Repeat the question for us, and then we can
Okay.
answer them.
Okay, so one was from Stacy Kazarovich. Sorry, I probably butchered that. Her question is, e-file and pay using publication 44082 file layout for W-2s or 1099s will be available for tax year 2021 through February 4, 2022, correct? So the first part of that question is no, the e-file and pay web application is no longer accessible for W-2 1099 uploads. You will have to use the GovConnect Iowa to upload your files there. And then the second part of your question, then after February 4, 2022, W-2 will be filed through using GovConnect Iowa or GovConnect Iowa. Will software providers programming the GovConnect W-2 and 1099 file formats for employers using the software have to register with Iowa similar to publication 44047A. So yes, we do request that software vendors register with this the state of Iowa and complete testing in order to be listed on our website as a verified software vendor. In order to gain access to the test site, you will have to fill out a bulk filer application, which is located on the GovConnect Iowa login screen. And there's a section in there where it says register as a certified service provider. From there, information, once you submit the application, information will be provided from there on how to access the test site and your vendor application and that nature.
Sounds good. Brent, while we're answering the questions, you want to toss up that contact slide that's got the email address and phone number on it too? Just go back a couple. Oh, yeah, perfect. There you go. So there's all the links, email and phone numbers for you to be able to look at and make sure that you're reaching out. If you do have like specific questions, there are some in here. I think if you're asking about your specific account, we won't be able to answer that today. So please reach out through either that taxpayer services email or the W-2 1099 filing question. And that will be where the department will be able to help you figure out why you either don't have access to bulk filing or don't see, where your piece is at, or whether or not you need to register or anything like that. Those questions we won't be able to handle today if you don't have access to accounts or aren't seeing the things that you think you should be seeing. There's the info for how you can reach out and get that. So Brent, next question you want to tackle.
Sorry, I'm trying to scroll through. They keep on moving on me.
Yeah, they keep on adding in, and so if we don't get to your question today, we've got over 50 currently in the queue. We will do our best to be able to get that one going. Maybe a quick one here that just came through from Scott. So where do you find that list of approved software vendors?
That is on our website. So the slide where W-2 1099 filing information, if you go there and click through there, you'll get to the certified software vendors list. And that is still being worked on and published, since how we just get our testing site up and running. So that is not complete as of right now, but it will be here in the next couple weeks or so.
Sounds good. I think a quick one that we can answer: if there is no Iowa withholding for W-2, do we need to electronic submit?
No, you do not. If there is no Iowa withholding on the W-2 or 1099s, then you do not need to submit the W-2s or 1099s.
Awesome. Are multiple payers / employers allowed in a single upload?
Say that again.
So essentially, can a bulk filer submit for separate companies in a single upload?
Yes, that is correct. Yep.
So you can do that all right there, Peter. Hopefully that answers your question. Let's see.
Jump in and clarify the e-file and pay / GovConnect Iowa requirements real quick. E-file and pay will be open to file for sales returns and withholding returns until February 4th of 2022, but you cannot file W-2 and 1099s in e-file and pay. Those will have to be filed through GovConnect Iowa. You can still do your regular withholding returns in there, just not your W-2 and 1099s.
Excellent. Thank you, Emily. Let's see. A couple
I'd like
other.
to try and jump in here real quick.
Yep.
So we're getting a lot of questions about how can you bulk file. So in order to bulk file or upload a file that contains W-2s for multiple employers, you do have to create a web logon. Right now it's showing certified service provider as the who you are when you're creating your web logon. So you need to choose I am a certified service provider when creating a web logon, and then you'll create a web logon using that method. The bulk filing option is only available for the certified service provider web logons. So even though your company may be a registered bulk filer, you have to create a separate logon in order to obtain access to that bulk filing option. So again, if you've already created a GovConnect Iowa account as a business owner or employee, you're not going to have the bulk filing option there to file on behalf of clients. You will have to go back in and create a separate web logon, which will require a separate email address, and choose I am a certified service provider. And that will gain you access to the bulk file option for filing. That's for W-2s, as well as your sales and withholding and all other tax types that you may bulk file for. Now, all registered bulk filers, if you're approved bulk filer in the past, that still holds true to today. So you can go ahead and use that. You'll just go ahead and create that web logon. if you're not a bulk filer or registered bulk filer, but you're interested in becoming one, you actually need to register for one. That can be done on the GovConnect Iowa homepage as well. It says it's one of the main options on the top left panel on the GovConnect Iowa homepage. Sorry, I just wanted to get that out there because we're seeing a lot of questions on bulk filing in the chat.
All right, thanks, Chet.
Yep, and Chet and Terry and Emily, if you do see some of those in there, you can go ahead and just like click those three dots and use dismiss, and that'll help clean up the list as Brent is looking through to see other questions that we can answer yet today.
So here's one from Janelle Miller. Can a certified service provider account have multiple users? The answer to that is no, they cannot. Unless they have a filing requirement to the state of Iowa, then they would have like maybe a withholding account, and then they could have like an employee of a business have a log on to that. But as far as if you're just strictly a bulk filer or a certified service provider who has that status and is only filing for clients, then there is no secondary log on that you can have for that, unfortunately. And the second part of her question was, can certified service providers also file individually for clients and not as bulk filers if needed? And that question is yes, you can do that. You would just have to go in and request access to the individual withholding account that you're needing access to. And then once the access letter is received and the access code is received, then you'd be able to file on behalf of that client specifically.
So for those of you that are questions in here about the GovConnect Iowa platform, we did just have Sophie post in the link webinar for next week that's going to be looking at getting signed up to and access to the GovConnect Iowa platform. So if you're still looking to see where that is at, you can come live for next week. And we did also have an archived version where the process to be able to do that is actually done and recorded and up on Iowa Source Link that you can go and watch at your own convenience to see the step-by-steps to be able to get yourself onto the GCI platform. See any others in there, Brent, that are good to be able to answer today?
Sorry, I'm trying to scroll through.
We're getting a lot of questions. We're getting a lot of questions on testing their test upload on bulk, or uploading their files or bulk files. Now, in the past, eFile and Pay had a demo version where you could test your uploads. Unfortunately, GovConnect Iowa doesn't have that. Now, if you are a registered bulk filer, filers do have access to a test site. However, again, you have to be a registered bulk filer. If you're a bulk filer and want access to that test site, you need to contact us at csp-bulkfilers@iowa.gov. It's right there on that contact us. If you send us an email, we'll verify that you are a registered bulk filer, and we can get you, work with you on getting instructions to get into that test site to test your bulk uploads. For everyone else, the system's going to check your file uploads for W-2s and 1099s for errors. So you shouldn't, if you're wondering if it's going to go through with errors, it's not. So there's really no need to test unless you're a bulk filer or filing for multiple clients, because again, the system's going to check for any errors or discrepancies. And if there are any, it's not going to let your transmission go through.
Okay. So as you're looking for others, we did have a question about the webinar for next week that I know I can answer. It is a long one. It's currently scheduled for 3 hours, and the agenda is detailed. So if you only want to log in for the different parts that you want to watch, considering GovConnect Iowa, please do so. You'll be able to just use the same link and jump in and out. So Leslie, good question. Brent, here's maybe one we can answer. as Joe was talking about having to register again, I'm assuming that means that you're not able to switch your status in the system and you need to create a different login. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, you have to create a logon specifically for the certified service provider option, which is the bulk filer option.
And to those of you who were registered bulk filers, again, you do not have to re-register. If you were previously a bulk filer, that carried over to GovConnect Iowa. But as Brent just alluded to, you will need to create a separate web logon, and you'll choose this I am a certified service provider option when creating that web logon. And that's going to get you access to the bulk filing option.
Sorry, there was one of. So someone referenced the 44082 that is listed on our link that I have up right now on the screen, the tax.iowa.gov electronic filing W-2 wage statements and W-2 and 1099 information returns. That is no longer a PDF. That is just information that's listed on our website. And so anything updates for the file layouts will be updated there. Again, we did conform to the 2021 IRS Pub 1220 specs. Differences are notated within that website, on our website. And then there were no changes to the W-2 file layouts for the conforming to the SSA 2021 file layouts.
Hey, Brent, do we have any information on the Iowa withholding number, the number sequence? Do we have any information on that?
So in regards to the 12-digit versus the 9-digit, so either or can be used within the file layout. So you can use the 12 or the 9-digit. You can just pad the 9-digit ones with zeros at the end or even at the beginning. So I think it does say, I think it says left aligned if I remember. So so zeros at the end, whereas before we just accepted the 12-digit, we only had 12-digit. It accepts 9 digits and 12 digits.
Thank you.
And just another note on that, we will be discontinuing issuing out new 12-digit withholding permit numbers. We will only strictly be going to the 9-digit number for future. But as of right now, it accepts both.
Yep. So that's for any service providers or payroll service providers on here. If we're doing away with the BEN number as well, the business e-file number. So we will no longer issue BEN numbers to new permit holders. The BEN's not used on any of the filings in GovConnect Iowa. So bulk files don't require the BEN number on there. The BEN will be used when creating a web logon, or can be used when creating a web logon as a verification method, but the BEN is obsolete when actually doing any transactions inside of GovConnect Iowa. Furthermore, another thing I want to touch base on was the difference between a third-party user, a third-party web logon, and a certified service provider, aka bulk filer web logon. Third-party web users, web logon users, they're not going to have the bulk filer option available. So you will have to request access to each individual account or client's account to file their W-2s. If you create the certified service provider web logon, the bulk filer web logon, then you can bulk file for all your clients without requesting access. So bulk filing does not require you to request access to each client's account. Otherwise, if you're going to file individually, you do have to request access to each client's account.
Brent, can we provide information on the options for filing the VSPs for Iowa?
Say that again, Terry, I'm sorry.
The VSP, what are the options to file the VSP? They don't have e-file and pay anymore, I don't believe, for that.
I can take this one, Brent.
Go ahead, Chet.
The VSP does have the upload method for bulk filers. Otherwise, they have the key and send version as well. So if they have access to the withholding account, or if you have a withholding account, there should be a VSP filing option under the summary tab. Otherwise, if you're a bulk filer, filing on behalf of clients, when you create your bulk filer web logon, the certified service provider web logon, you can, you have the option to bulk file a VSP that way as well.
I think
So-
we're both just probably looking through. Go ahead, Brent, if you found one you want to answer.
Someone asked if you can have multiple people under the same login or the same account. So only one person can have one logon or one web logon per account. From my understanding. Hold on a second. Sorry, I lost that question and then I apologize.
You can only use your email to create one GovConnect Iowa logon, but through that logon, you can access multiple tax accounts. You'll just have to go in and request access for each of the accounts you want.
Thank you, Emily.
Mhm.
So again, if you are already a bulk filer within our previous system, and you utilize that bulk filer option, then that will transpire to the GovConnect Iowa GovConnect Iowa system. So again, like Chet stated prior, you don't need to reapply for bulk filer status. If you do have issues and you're not seeing that bulk filer option, then email us at that cspbulkfilers@iowa.gov.
All right, as we're still looking through here, we've still got about 70 some odd open questions in the queue. So as Brent's looking through there, some of these were, if they're again like personal to you and your account, we're not going to be able to answer them during this webinar. And please reach out to that IDR at iowa.gov or the CSP bulk filers at iowa.gov email. We won't be able to answer those on here
You have-
today. Go ahead, Emily.
We do have a lot of questions about how to access an account or if a third party can access versus the client themselves. I would highly encourage everyone to register for the webinar next week. We have 2 different sections in there. The first one talks about creating your logon and accessing your accounts. And the second one is for what we're calling other parties and secondary access. And that'll be important for those third party providers or tax professionals that want to access a client account. We can dive into what that looks like and how to best get access to accounts, but it's a little bit complex to answer in just a Q&A session.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that link to sign up for that webinar is there in the chat. Come for the parts that you want to be able to see and work through. And that one will also next week be recorded and archived, so you'll be able to watch it at your own convenience as well, as will the presentation portion that Brent just did and this Q&A section will both be posted for you to see.
So to reiterate in regards to the 44082, the publication that IDR used to publish, that is, again, that is no longer a actual PDF or publication that we have that you can download. It's actually on a web page itself. So if you were to, again, if you go to that W-2 information, that link that's listed there on the screen that's up right now, and then you click W-2 reporting or information return reporting, that is basically the 44082. It's just the information is just inputted onto the web page itself.
So just maybe clarification, 4 questions. Looks like if you're not a bulk filer but have W-2 1099 filing questions, which number you want them to call, Brent?
So the W-2 1099 filing questions would be the 1-800-367-3388 option 5. Otherwise, the email address, the CSB bulk filers at iowa.gov as well. Would
there you
be
go, Ned.
strictly for the.
Yeah, if you've got, Annette, if you've got those W-2 1099 questions, go ahead and use those emails there. Okay, for those that are asking me a couple, 3 questions. So these will be archived up on iasourcelink.com in our tax webinars page. So if you get a go ahead, we'll go ahead and post that link. So archives for this version and the one next week will be live there as soon as we can. And I think that we didn't mention this once before, but I think I've seen it 3 or 4 times again. I'm in here for that list of approved vendors. Brendan, if you just want to flip back on those slides, there's going to be a spot on the IDR website right there. When you go under W-2 1099 filing information, that is where you're going to be able to find that list of vendors.
And again, on that note, Patrick, that list is still being worked on as our test site just opened up here yesterday evening or yesterday morning. So the vendors are still doing their testing and things like that, and we'll add them to the list and update that list as we go on.
Sure. So any clues to the timeline on that, when that list will start to be begin to be filled out?
Here, I would say the next a week or 2 is the hope. So.
Okay, so hopefully that any of the questions in here about the list of the outside providers and vendors, that it's still a work in progress. You'll be able to find it on that W-2 1099 filing information page as they complete their testing and are listed in there as well. But good questions, and Brent, thanks for that. Thanks for that clarification. We'll do questions here for maybe just a couple, 2 or 3 more minutes. We still got a few more to go through. If we haven't answered your question, we most likely aren't able to do it in this type of session. So please reach out directly to the Department of Revenue on that. Either the CSP bulk filers or taxpayer services will get you in the right place to answer those questions. We want to make sure you get the information that you're looking for. We just might not be able to answer them here. We will be able to, after this session, provide the full list of the questions to the department. So some of those common FAQ questions would be something that we can look at potentially putting up with the webinar, but that won't be for probably at least a few weeks afterwards. But the recording will be up hopefully by the end of the week. So if you weren't able to get notes on something, you'll be able to watch again and find those answers, hopefully, that you're looking for.
I want to address something too regarding the certified service provider bulk filer web logons. So that web logon for the certified service provider bulk filer, that's the only one that gets you access to the bulk filing option. However, please keep in mind that once you create that web logon, that bulk filer web logon, you can actually request access to your individual clients' accounts through that bulk filer web logon as well. So you have to create it may be a separate logon because if you've already created one as a business owner, that bulk filer web logon still can be used to request individual access to your clients as well if you want, but it's the only one that can be used for bulk filing.
And just to add on top of that, what Chet stated is, like how we stated earlier, tax professionals and third parties, they have to select a client to work with. When you're a bulk filer and you want access to certain clients, when you first log in, you'll be asked to who you want to work with, and at that point, you either select your own company, with the bulk filer status on it, to submit bulk filer returns or bulk filer W-2s, 1099s. Otherwise, you would select the client that you want to work with. So, and then Daniel Rodriguez listed something about clarification on slide 30 in regards to the bulk filer manual key. So this slide is strictly just for just to note that bulk filers, when they get into the system and they have to enter employer information, they'll have to manually enter the withholding account number listed at the bottom left there. And basically the stages that we went through prior with self-filers, business and third-party representatives, that's the steps from there on are exactly the same. So you select the forms that you want to work with, you put in the information, you confirm the information, then you submit the information, get a confirmation number. So the only different step is that the bulk filer has to enter the withholding account number themselves versus selecting the withholding account number on that manual keys side.
And maybe a clarification, Chad or Emily or Brent, if we can. I think there's been a lot of questions around it. If you already have third-party access, you have to create a separate logon to get bulk filer rights. You cannot add bulk filer rights to an existing account. Just make sure everyone's clear on that. Is that accurate?
Correct. Yep. So if you've already signed up as a third party or a tax professional to access clients' accounts, then you'll have, if you want that bulk filer status, you're going to have to create a separate logon or fill out an application to become a bulk filer.
Either way,
Right.
registered or not, you still have to create a web logon. But you have to be, in order to create that bulk filer web logon, you have to be a registered bulk filer. Because when you go to choose it, it's going to ask you, are you registered with the state or with the department? If you answer no, it's going to direct you right to the online registration application to be for bulk filing. Once you complete that, you'll get that application will be submitted to the department, and we'll mail you out a letter once it's been approved. Should be fairly quickly, and then you can go through and complete your web logon.
Okay. All right. Well, Brent, I'll let you look through. Maybe if there's one more that we can answer, and while you're looking, I will just sort of reiterate a couple of last housekeeping things, and then we'll get everybody on with the rest of their day. First and foremost, thank you for joining us on this Iowa SourceLink, Iowa Department of Revenue webinar. Iowa SourceLink is a platform brought to you by the University of Northern Iowa and the Iowa Economic Development Authority, where we can direct businesses and people that serve businesses to resources around the state, including webinars like this. This webinar is recorded and it's going to be up live. Maybe you're watching the recording right now on Iowa SourceLink. Please, if you're watching this before December 15th, be sure to register for our next upcoming webinar. That's going to really take a deeper look into some of these account questions and access questions regarding the GovConnect Iowa platform. This was educational purposes only in there as well. I think Brent probably had that disclaimer as well. And that if you're looking for official answers from the department, please reach out to them directly to get those answers. Appreciate everyone that has stuck around with us throughout the Q&A. If we weren't able to answer your question, or if it was a specific question to your account, please do contact the Department of Revenue directly to make sure we're getting those questions answered. With that, maybe the last question that we can answer here, Brent, is what is the soonest date that we can start filing W-2s on GovConnect Iowa?
So as I stated, for January 1st is the 2019, 2020, and 2021 will be accessible and be able to file. I believe the link is up as of right now, but submissions can be entered, but it's only for 2018, 2019, and 2020 as at this point. So 2021 has not been updated, but come January 1st, that will be accessible and you'll be able to upload 2021 forms.
I think that makes sense. Wait till the end of the year before you start uploading W-2s. So with that, Brent, thank you so much for walking us through the slide deck. You did a great job. If you want to toss it up to the contact us slide one more time here at the end, people have that. Chet, Terry, Emily, thank you again for providing answers to questions in the background. We answered quite a few questions today, but on the behalf of Iowa SourceLink, University of Northern Iowa, the Iowa Department of Revenue and the Iowa Economic Development Authority. Thank you for attending this webinar, and we hope to see you again in a webinar sometime soon.